You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Legend of Korra after show.
Woo!
I know.
Harmony.
Back now, as everyone's back from Comic-Con this week, there was an idea to allow me to actually jump over this table repeatedly while putting on Groucho Marx masks and to do the after show, but we decided to not go with that because otherwise we wouldn't have the lovely and talented panel, starting with Miss Liz Rishmawy.
Hey everyone.
And next to her is
Tauri Miller, firebender extraordinaire.
I took my element.
Haha! Well, we've already established your Earth, and I mean, Tori, I mean, your air.
No, I wanted to trade with her. Yes.
I'm
trading with her.
Yeah.
She's fire. I'm Earth. I'm Katie Cullen. Hi, guys. I do my own introductions.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Quick, and in the
And I'm the element of surprise!
And in the booth is that asshole, so...
Yep.
Moving
And
on.
once again, we're rated explicit on iTunes. Get that out of the way.
It might as well. All right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, so much has happened this week. Korra has started a war. We've just met a bunch of new airbenders. And Mako gave away his scarf. I mean... What the hell? Let's
I know, like the one trademark, like because everybody wears a specific color based on where they're from or whatever. It was like, but now you don't have enough red.
Everyone else has a personality. You have a scarf. Now what do you have? No, I'm kidding.
But starting off with episodes 3 and 4, we have the Earth Queen and In Harm's Way. And so, just kicking us off, very beginning of
The Earth Queen.
Of the Earth Queen. Yes, thank you.
She is wackadoodle.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I love the scene too because I love that we get this little background. We know that this is what Bolin and was really excited about, you know, trying to drag Mako along too. And we get this beautiful scene where they're just like on this airship and they're starting to go over Ba Sing Se. And did you guys get like all kind of like nostalgic remembering when Aang and the original guys came to Ba Sing Se for the first time?
For that, yes.
My cabbages! I was more, I was less nostalgic because Ba Sing Se, if you remember, was probably the most corrupt city in existence.
Nothing good ever happes in Ba Sing Se.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much nothing good.
It's like the Namek of Legend of Korra.
Well, but it still exists. So.
Oh,
I went there.
Too soon.
It's been years. They brought the planet back with the Dragon Balls.
Still wearing my green
technically just
armband.
made a new one, but all right.
Close enough.
But
Wrong
yeah.
series.
But yeah, I just I liked how they, with nostalgia, I just thought it was interesting because now we're getting the whole new avatar at this place that everybody's familiar with from the last series.
But it has changed. They pointed out, oh, we're passing around the outer ring. You can smell it up here. It's the slums and it's awful. And then they hit the Moon Gate, was it?
Yeah.
And they head into
Pretty
the inner
much.
ring and look at how beautiful it is. Look how wonderful it is. Look how big the dichotomy is when you hit the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You think the city has problems?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the city has always had problems, and
That's
we're
true.
just gonna see him being greeted by Secretary Gunn, I believe is his name,
Yeah.
as he lists off all of the rules that you must comply with when meeting with the Earth Queen. And was anybody else like really disturbed? Is like one of the first things I noticed is like, why are there Dai Li right there?
Yeah.
Like, as she is proceeding to punish a man for creating topiary that was overshadowing the koi pond. But, you know, which, to be fair, I mean, you can't do that.
Yes. Well,
True.
I thought,
Well, she had the guards take him away. That's
It was Dai Li.
It's one of those beware the groove moments.
yeah, but the Dai Li was always like the actual like. Well, no, they weren't the palace guards, were they?
No.
Yeah, but I didn't really take too much consideration because at this point we've already established that the queen was like a really nasty person. So it kind of it didn't really sink in real quick though why the Dai Li would be there because I thought, well, you know, maybe she just always wants the top of the top to be around her. So
But I
Could
thought
be.
I could have sworn that the Dai Li were disbanded. by the end of, or why would they not be? They helped overthrow the Earth King.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been how many years? 70?
Why would she not bring them
70?
back? She straight up says that she thinks her father had weaknesses, and if she thinks that disbanding the Daily were one of them, why would she not have that power back? Obviously, it's what she wants.
Yeah. That was a very interesting introduction. It's like, oh, the last Avatar took advantage of my father's weakness and stole Earth Kingdom land from us.
Yeah, for Republic City.
To create his own little empire, as she said, which, to be fair, I mean, he kind of did.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that the Earth King had procreated.
Well,
where did she come from?
Well, she's got to be like in her like 50s, so you imagine it might have been like, well, he was kind of like a young king-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe he just had her,
and he
probably
went
like
traveling with his bear.
Yeah, maybe he went. It was like 20 years later, and then boom, he had a baby. So we don't
Sowing
know
his
the
wild oats.
relationships.
Who knows?
I'm still questioning. Well, we'll get into later episodes, but you know, like
I'm still questioning where Zuko got a dragon. I'm still questioning where Zuko got a dragon.
But
that's me.
Well, you see, when a dragon mommy and a dragon daddy love each other very much, they set a lot of things on fire, and then somehow there's an egg involved.
But I thought the only two left were the same gender, and that was why there weren't more dragons.
They adopted.
Yeah.
From where?
Well, here's the thing.
Jurassic Park states
We
that
can keep questioning that, but at the same time, they also brought back a different breed of air bison, which wouldn't have made sense because you think that they would have found that, but they just wanted that animal back. So it's just
we're just gonna hit the retcon button.
We're just gonna
Right.
through the magic,
through it.
through the magic of it happened off screen.
Yes. But anyway, so they established that the queen is not a nice person. Before then, he brought Gunn brought them to their place that they were staying at, and it was already established right off the bat that Kai seemed to have his own agenda with kind of just running off to pickpocket and use his new airbending skills.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
He's a sneaky little bastard, I'll give him that much.
Yes.
He is incredibly...
Well, he had to survive for that long and evade the police and still make money. So, yeah. And he's in a very big, very rich city, and they probably don't have too terribly many pickpockets in the inner wall because all the riffraff is on the outer wall.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so basically, you know, Queen establishes that I don't know where you're getting your information with Korra, but then basically says, hey, you know, fine, I will help you locate airbenders, but first you have to do something for me.
After she straight up denies that, no, there are no airbenders in Ba Sing Se. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. There's
Right.
nothing in Ba Sing Se.
We're just getting like, it's just like everything's like kind of like repeated itself, gone right back. Ba Sing Se is a corrupt city again.
Yeah.
Everything's in. And did anything about that just feel like kind of like an MMO fetch quest? It's like,
Oh,
I will help
extremely.
you
Yeah.
if you go do this.
Yeah, and then we're
You get 5 animal pelts and bring them back here.
and it's been established basically that you know, there's been a lot of thieves and stuff, and they've been stealing a lot of taxes. So now she's all mad. She says, fine, go get me my taxes that these people have not been paying me, and then we'll see about helping you. Because she didn't deny at first that there weren't any airbenders in Ba Sing Se. That's for later. But she did establish that I haven't heard of that or know where you're getting that information, but I will try to assist you if you help me with this first.
Yeah.
But going back real fast, so speaking of thieves, Mako and Bolin trying really hard to chase down Kai after he decided to give them the slip, and now get stuck in the lower ring where we get to see a just ground level view of just how bad the slums are.
Yeah.
Well,
And
they chase Kai onto a train, and Kai gets off the train, and they don't manage to. So it takes them outside of the wall. And when they try to get back on, not only has Kai pickpocketed them, so they can't
No
pay for the
passports.
tickets, but they also don't have a passport.
Yeah,
So
which we
they
don't even know if
basically
they
get
had in
kicked
the
out of
first
train.
place because they've been riding via the airship.
Airship.
Yeah.
So
But there's no reason for someone in the inner wall to leave.
yes, well, we see a lot of people coming off the train. For all we know, it could be people who live in the outer the outer circle in the slums who have like maybe servant jobs or something in the inner circles, and that's
Could
why
be.
they have a special passport for that to allow them to do that. So
Right.
Could be.
Interesting that you have to have a passport to get to other parts of your own city.
yeah,
It
well,
keeps the riffraff out.
yeah, and I think they had that still. Well, maybe it was just people when they were running to Ba Sing Se in the original series where people needed passports as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they wind up going there, and you know, they're basically brought back to, you know, their childhood. Where like, well, I guess we're stuck here, and they wind up sleeping on the garbage, which is really
Just Just like I remember it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bolin.
Terrible.
It sucked then, sucks now.
Yeah.
But then they decide that they're going to play the fruit stand game in order to get themselves some breakfast, and just who should appear but looks like a man very, very reminiscent of Bolin.
Yeah, well, just even the guy that was arguing with him looks so much like Bolin in the fruit stand, and he has the same kind of attitude as Bolin about, this is the best fruit, this is rotten. Wait, do you want us to steal the fruit?
No.
Are you saying, what, should we steal the fruit? And then he
Is
just
the
attacks
fruit
them.
not good enough for you to steal? It's just back and forth and back and forth. It's a who's on first.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a great little moment when he puts his hand on his own apples and they just immediately mush.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
They're trying to sell this, like, in all seriousness. This isn't just they found this fruit in a dumpster and say, hey, let's see who we can bilk out of their money. No, like, this is their apparently family fruit stand.
And he says it's the best fruit on the block, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how bad the slums are. Let's hammer that point in.
Yes. But then, and then this guy comes around the corner who apparently seems to be the father of the guy that was running the fruit stand. And he immediately recognizes Mako and Bolin and just says, hey, I know you guys. And everybody's just shocked. And then I'm sitting here like, well, there is a family resemblance. So
this guy's their uncle.
yeah.
Yes.
And what was it? San's
San,
kid?
yeah.
Yeah,
San
San.
was their father, and this is San's brother. So immediately it's the family reunion that Bolin was looking forward to, and they get led off into the house to meet the rest of the family.
And there's like, 14, 15 cousins. This is a very small room with a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually kind of interesting because I was reading up online. They led into an apartment building, which is apparently the same apartment building that Zuko and Iroh were first living at when they got to Ba Sing Se.
Oh, really?
I would not be surprised.
That was reading that online. Some fans were going like, "Isn't this the same building?" And they're like, "Oh my god, I think it is." So
They would
Some
put
things
Easter
don't
eggs
change.
like that,
Yeah.
and that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah, there's all
Yeah.
sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they go in and they meet the family members, and so happens that they get to meet the grandmother,
Grandma Yin.
Grandma Yin, who's the mother of San and their uncle, and we apparently find out that as soon as the father had left, they're talking about he always wanted to leave out of here. He wanted better things. He wanted to travel. We're so proud of him. How is your parents doing? And then it's all
You don't
sad
know.
because
What don't we know?
Yeah, we realized that this family, it's so sad that they've been so disconnected and out of touch with one another that they have to explain our parents are dead.
Yeah.
They
and
were killed.
San only ever sent them one letter.
Yes,
And it was a picture with them when they were young.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we can, the episode kind of skips to certain points, but if we want to just kind of stay on this one particular arc.
Yeah, let's talk about this and then go back. Because we're
And
doing a
then
lot
we
of back
can get
and
to the
forth.
badass ass kicking. But
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But basically, okay. So then they're talking to family, and the grandmother says, I want to show you guys something. To which you said that they showed the letter, and she said, this is the only letter that San has ever sent me, and it's this great picture of them all in black and white, and you see the scarf and everything, and you see the family, and she's saying, I think she was saying it to Mako, you have your mother's eyes, and I knew that this woman would be a wonderful wife for my son.
I'm sad I never got to meet your mother.
Yeah. And there's that touching moment because, like we were joking about earlier in the episode, that, Mako is known for that scarf. And it's just this very touching moment where Mako basically, looks at it and then just gives it to the grandmother saying, I think that he would have wanted you to have this because I believe it was his father's scarf.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is interesting because
His father's
father was
wearing it in the
Earthbender.
picture.
But, so they have that really touching moment. And what did you guys think about that scene? Because it was so sad. My heart.
It got me. It seemed it was kind of like a turn back to like the classic Avatar, where they'll have those like really touching scenes that actually seem deserved and very well earned, and this scene was one of those.
Yeah. I found it funny, though, I mean, for anybody out there who's ever met distant family, how close the connection was, immediately, because these are two guys who have been out on their own for so long. They haven't had family until they really met Korra and established them as their family, but now they're really making this connection, and it was a very quick connection, but, I mean, 'cause this all happened within, 24 hours.
Right.
So, we have that little moment there, and then I guess where it cuts out to is Bolin saying, oh, poor, because they were asking how they wound up there. And poor Kai is probably scared and alone. And then we cut to the scene where Kai is on a big bed.
He's living the high life. He's got servants bringing him meals. And
gold coins. And he just says, I love bossing Say.
He's been pickpocketing a lot of wealthy people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mako and Bolin.
Yes.
I think it would be an interesting thing. What if Yin actually was the Earth Kingdom girl that Zuko went on the date with in Tales of Ba Sing Se?
That would be funny.
That'd be awesome.
And I didn't
That would be well, what was her name? Tell us in the comments, fandom.
Please.
What was her name?
Yes, we can look. But I also thought it was interesting, and this is just from what I heard when I was watching the episode, and again, fans, tell us if I'm right, or I will Google it when I get home, but I think the voice actress who did Grandma Yin was the same voice actress that might have done the voice of the creepy grandma lady that taught...
Bloodbending?
Bloodbending. It sounded very similar. So I don't know if that was the same voice actress, but I almost I was trying to like this woman, and then that kind of creeped me out.
Let's go back to the nice theories.
Yeah.
Because now I'm creeped out too, and I like Grandma Yin. She was adorable.
Yes, and I still think it was cute. The shout out, like, oh, don't speak bad of the queen. Love you. Long may she reign.
It's like, that was extremely North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, again, sticking with the family scene, we realize when they do mention Kai and how they got there, and they talk about what they're doing there and how they're friends with the Avatar, and they basically said that they're on this quest that they want to help find the airbenders. Mm-hmm. And then we get the scene where the family members are just kind of
they all just kind of shut up immediately. And this is a family where there's always some background noise going on. People are chattering, but that dead silence in that room after they say that.
Yes, and
So yeah, then we find out that the airbenders have been kidnapped by the queen, so that
conscripted.
Conscripted. Yes, sorry.
Conscripted.
Forgive my word usage.
You say tomato. I say kidnapping.
Entrapment. Yes.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. So that and then you find Kai getting caught by the Dai Li.
Yeah. Well, that was more toward the end, but
after he earth bends to try to pickpocket another guy.
But just to find out in this scene where they are picking all these airbenders apart because for some secret, air army for the Earth Kingdom, and and that's when we realized that. I had a right not to like this queen lady.
Well, you had a right not to like this queen lady anyway. She doesn't like animals now. But
we've had a lot of clues, and then coming up next, we're going to see even bigger ones as we switch back to Korra and Asami actually do go out on their MMO quest. And
with the airship.
All the M's.
With the airship.
So many M's. They land there, and pretty much it's one of those scenes where everyone sees them and just kind of, takes the kid inside and closes the door and hides behind something because, oh, shoot, the queen's agents are here. We don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They know. Well, again, they know something's up. It's kind of like the scene in like an old Western when the shootout's about to happen. Everyone's closing up. Even the guards know that something is about to go down as they're bringing the gold out, and then lo and behold, we have bandits come in from the hill, and what is probably one of the better fight scenes so far that we've seen.
It basically becomes Mad Max.
Yeah.
That's pretty much exactly what happens, because they come riding in on motorcycles and one armored car, and they've all got spears and God knows what else, and they're trying to steal the money.
Yeah, which is funny because then all of a sudden she says, maybe we should have brought more people.
Yeah. I was like, it's a fetch quest. We'll be fine. And then, not so much.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like they needed much. I mean, we already knew that Korra can handle herself in a fight, but who was really surprised to see Asami just take people down left and right?
Amazing.
Well,
Not at all?
because we saw her in action on the last series, or the last season rather, kicking butt.
Even in season 1,
I feel like everybody
she was completely capable.
I feel like everybody in this series is just automatically taught some sort of martial arts from the get-go, regardless of.
Well, in season 1, her dad got someone to teach her how to defend herself because his wife was dead and she was an heiress to a large corporation, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So she did get the training because of her social standing. Mm-hmm. But she's what TV tropes would call a badass normal.
Yes.
She doesn't have any special powers, but she still destroys people.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to watch.
She does have the ability to flip and wear an electric glove, though. So.
Yes, which is awesome. And then I love how, you know, they're fighting the scene and everything, and then it gets to the point where they stop the guys from getting the gold, and then the bandit even makes a comment like, "You are on the wrong side, Avatar. This is the money of the people.
That gold belongs to the people, not the queen."
Yes,
Got it written down.
There you go. I left my notes at home.
Occasionally, I write down quotes. Occasionally, it works out.
Says the guy that does look like an extra out of Mad Max.
He really does.
This belongs to the people.
Yeah.
Not the queen. Zoom.
Yes, and then
Like,
you know,
I think
I'm gonna
they're
go
not
rob
wrong.
someone else.
well, I think they were more like of a Robin Hood kind of thing because to me, you know, I imagine that they would have just given it back to people as dangerous as they looked and not very nice. But even Korra had a moment of self-reflection where she said to Asami, you know, like, why do I have the gut-wrenching feeling that he's right?
Yeah.
You know, they do feel bad about this. So, you know, getting back.
Yeah, but then she presents the gold to the Earth Queen in her usual Korra fashion. I do have to love that no matter who you are, what state of authority, Korra doesn't care.
Korra will just yell at you.
Here's your dirty money, throws it at her feet. Now tell me where all the airbenders are as I stand inside your throne room surrounded by a bunch of men who could kill me.
Yes. And basically,
There are no airbenders in Ba Sing Se.
yes, and that's what she says, and Korra immediately calls her on her crap.
Yeah.
Trying to find censored versions here. Sorry for the listeners who have already been scorned. But, you know, we find out that, you know, we can already tell she's lying, but she says basically there are no airbenders here. But the good news is and I might be leading into the next episode.
I think you're leading into the next episode.
But we find out that, you know, and Korra has to basically be dragged away saying, I know you're lying. There are airbenders here in the city, and I'm going to find them regardless of what you say. I'm going to find them. And then that's when I think the last scene of this episode is when basically we see Kai trying to rip off that one last person. And then he turns into a dark alleyway, and we know right away that there's probably something's going to happen.
We have the yelling, I'm going to find them. We have giving the scarf to Grandma, and we're looking for airbenders. And then we have Kai getting kidnapped.
Very reminiscent of the scene where Jet actually got captured by the Dai.
Yes, and this is what I like about this episode in the season right now, where when we're visiting old places we haven't seen for seasons, and it just gives us a lot of Easter eggs and reminiscence of reminding us of those past episodes, which I think is so, you know, I know some people that watch this series that haven't seen the original Avatar, and I think it's like one of those things where it's really important that you should know. You should probably watch it. Do you have any thoughts on that scene?
No.
He's gone in the shadows.
Well,
Speaking of places from previous seasons, we're back at the North Pole.
Yes. Well, this is going now into...
No, it was in
it's
this
the same
episode.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We are back at the North Pole because Zuko is visiting, help me with the twins' names, Eska and Desna.
Desna.
Eska and Desna, saying, we need to check on a secret prison you got kicking around up here.
We have a secret what?
prison? Why didn't you tell us this? We'd be throwing people in it.
We've been so bored. We're like really happy that something's happening. And then they go off to... And they're with Korra's father. What is...
Tonrock.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tonrock.
I am bad at names.
Yes. And then we find out, and then it P.S. flashes forward into the next episode. It gives us a little something to grab onto because we already know that they're on track for this prison because there's already been prison breaks with the other ones, as we find into the next episode.
And as we get our brief introduction to Pei Li, who we're going to find out a lot more in this next episode coming up, but that... Just before it goes, that just one little conversation that they have in the elevator.
Elevators. She can create explosions with her mind.
Oh,
I hired someone like that to kill the Avatar once.
Explodey head.
Didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. Like, look at him.
That's okay.
Oh, Lord, that was so funny.
I tried to kill her once because she ruined my wedding.
Yeah.
It happens.
Murder. It happens.
Yeah.
Tom Rock's just standing there like,
We should.
where
focus.
am I? Who are you people?
Yeah.
Is anybody just a little bit surprised that those two are allowed to, like, you know, because they're now the, I guess, dual chiefs of the Northern Water Tribe, even though their father tried to unleash basically Satan.
But they did do an alliance flip on their father. They basically realized, oh, this is not good. We need to stop you now.
Yeah, they proved themselves in the end, and I think it's one of those things where it's just happens how it happens. I mean, she even made a joke too, like, it's okay, I tried to kill Korra. It happens.
Stuff.
I guess so. I guess if I was gonna do that, I would also have to really complain about the fact that Zuko was allowed to be Fire Lord.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's probably done worse things too. So
Avatars are typically bygones be bygones kind of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now that we're actually at this prison that leads us in at the beginning of Harm's Way, we actually have...
Episode 4.
Yeah, Episode 4. We have Zaheer and company attack the prison in order to rescue Pei Li. And just the lead up to that alone, we have everybody standing outside in the usual stand in a line, wait for things to happen, and Tonrock just commenting. I was like, no, it wasn't Tonrock that commented on it. It was Zuko that commented on how he doesn't see anything but a snowstorm coming their way.
And that's no snowstorm.
And that's what
Tonrock
says.
That's no moon.
Yes. and basically, so we have this amazing, again, another really great animated sequence with the fighting and everything. And it's cool, too, because we're getting to see Zuko in action. With these other guys, and I believe it was Gazan, and he's the lava bender, and we have Minghua, and of course Zaheer, and they're all basically fighting, and then who should try to actually Pei Li get out is Minghua, and I love the little comment where, you know, she's happy and finally she's out, and then they're climbing the walls, and the thing she's like, why couldn't we just take the elevator to show off? But
shut up.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, if I was trapped in a prison for 13 years, I think, you know, as Minghua was, and she has no arms, now she finally has arms after 13 years, I'd probably want to use them as much as I could, too.
Right.
Well, and I wouldn't want to get into a little enclosed box either.
Yes, where they could just destroy the elevator.
And we're also seeing, like, as Zuko had said, like, you know, them alone can take down any bender. Together, who knows what they'll do. Like, we see them pretty handily take down Tonrock, Zuko,
and
a dragon, and the twins, and we've already seen, like,
and a dragon.
And a dragon. We've already seen that. We saw in the last season the twins are no slouches when it comes to water bending, and Minghua takes them out with, like, barely an oh wait, there's this ledge that I need to step over, kind of.
And her character fascinates me, and I really hope, because I know that we're getting later into the season, but I really hope that there is at least one episode where we look into the backgrounds of these characters, because I want to know how the chick with no arms, how hard that must have been to not using that movement with your arms, because usually most bending requires arms and hands.
Right.
And I think it's fascinating that she has mastered this bending technique without arms, and I think that was like one of the coolest ideas.
Well, I was wondering if it was like the case where they had removed her arms so she couldn't use bending anymore.
No, because then they would have
like
just done that to the other guys.
Well, I mean,
they would have just taken her bending.
Yeah. Or
fair enough.
You know,
yes.
Well, okay, when they surfaced, the Avatar was 3 years old, so maybe not.
Yes, and then that's when, you know, so then they escape, and I think my favorite scene is, you know, we know that Pei Li and Zaheer are boyfriend and girlfriend, as was commented in an earlier episode where we're going to release, Minghua actually said it, she said, oh, you released me before your girlfriend, call me, you know, honored, or whatever it was. And, you know, we have them in this romantic moment of, I thought I would never see you again. And
I never doubted.
And then they're just basically kissy. And then we just kind of, the camera just pans out a little bit. We see Gazan just kind of like driving disgruntled and be, now? Really?
You have to do
it's
that
been
now.
about 13 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fight.
This is still rated Y7, I think, so, you know, it only gets to so much. But yes.
Right.
And that's why we cut to a different story.
Yes, we're back in...
Meanwhile, back at the plot.
Yeah, so, you know, we have basically... Korra and everybody outside, and then who should finally come back into play, but, you know, Mako and Bolin, and they're just, where the heck were you guys?
And
like,
Bolin
so by
in
the
this
way,
fashion.
so by the way, this is a thing that is happening, and the airbenders are being kidnapped, and
well, no, first, what were you saying?
Well, Bolin proceeds to explain it in his Bolin way, which Mako then has to translate.
Train and Kai, and then inner outer circle, and family, no money, and then airbenders, queen, and he just basically
falls over.
Falls over.
Can you translate?
Yes, and then they do find out, and immediately Korra is enraged by this because she had a feeling she knew the queen was lying.
And then
And
the
who
Earth
should
Queen,
show up on
yeah.
the scene?
I believe a Secretary Gunn trying to basically just shove them out of the city, creating this false lie. It's like, oh yeah, so apparently there's this province on the exact other end of the kingdom that you
Yes.
should really go to.
And then, the queen was there.
Yeah.
She's the one who was saying
Yeah.
it.
So you can leave by tonight, right?
Yes.
Like, no, we can't leave because, and Asami steps in, because we're having engine trouble and it'll take me until at least tomorrow to repair it.
And which the queen is not happy about.
And evidently she is allergic to pretty much every animal under the sun, as Pabu's presence causes her to go into a sneezing fit.
Yes.
Which is gratifying in that elementary school sort of way.
Yes.
Nothing quite like petty vengeance. But,
Yes!
But now that we know that for a fact, or at least our now main characters know for a fact, that the Earth Queen is conscripting any airbender that's found within Ba Sing Se, and probably throughout the entire kingdom, into her first airbending legion or army. First airbending army for the purposes of the Earth Queen. I mean, of course, everyone's going to hat up and go save them, but as we can see going down into the facility in which they're training them with Kai, it's very much not a, you're actually be proud to be part of the army. It's very much I don't know exactly what their really plans for these guys. They're training them to airbend in probably the worst way.
Yeah, not to
Right.
mention it's interesting to me too because here we have this Earth Kingdom and the Dai Li who are all Earthbenders, and I just find it very interesting. I mean, obviously at one point all benders had to figure out on their own how to become a master at bending without guidance, but we basically have a bunch of Earthbenders yelling at different things where basically the airbenders have to try to figure it out on their own, which is a totally harder way because there is no airbending master to teach them on behalf of the Earth Army.
Well, not only that, I was noticing and they talk a lot about when they were developing the different bending styles, how they would base them off of real martial arts. The movements that these airbenders were trying to do were basically earthbender movements that just so happen to do blasts of air, which is probably the worst way.
Exactly.
Right.
But that's what they know.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly like when we flash back to the original series when Aang is being taught by Toph how hard it is for him because on the spectrum they explained in that series that basically Earth is the opposite of air as far as bending is concerned, which is why it was so hard for him to try to really grasp it because air is this fluid movement rather, and they're peaceful and they're freaking monks. They're not really like fighting. If anything, they learn these techniques just like monks nowadays with their actual martial arts. They're not doing it. It's basically like
evasion and misdirection.
It's a mind training, meditation thing. They know how to kick butt basically, but they don't really use it for those purposes.
Right.
And where earthbending is very in your face, forward. Yeah. I'm trying to remember because I remember
it's the difference between a physical martial art as opposed to a spiritual based.
Yes.
Kai, ki, however you want to define it.
Yes.
Based martial art.
And I think I wish I remember because I remember the thing that I liked about watching the original series on Nickelodeon is they would have these scenes where they were talking to the animators about how they came up with this, and they actually talked specifically about which martial arts they had studied to create the movements.
Airbending was based off of Bagua.
And then I think
Hungar.
water was Tai Chi. And I think that fire was Kung Fu. I cannot...
Northern Shaolin style.
Yeah, and I can't for the life of me remember what Earth was based on. Oh, that was Hungar. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have these different movements, and again, which is why I thought it was very interesting that they're trying to train these airbenders, because this would have been a really crappy army, I think, had they succeeded.
Not necessarily, because if you get a hard enough gust of wind, you can drive toothpicks through trees. We've all seen the pictures of aftermath of tornadoes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And earthbending is very much an in-your-face style. Well, you teach someone to airbend in that method, and you're not going to have any fluidity, you're not going to have any ability to change, but you're going to have a lot of force. Yeah. And that's all they want, because that's what they know as earthbenders.
Well, it's also, and it's interesting that you mentioned that to me, because now I'm also remembering when Iroh had learned the lightning technique from watching waterbenders. So it's very interesting to see where they can go with this series is when you take the movements and the effects from one type of bending and you put it toward another, you get something completely different. If not meant for what it was for, but you get something different. And,
right.
You know, we see that later on in the episode, actually. But, you know, so anyway, so you come back where they're trying to figure out where they could be hiding. And then that's when Mako basically says, what about Lake Laogai?
And of course, that makes
I've been reading Janora's books.
Yeah, we're all kind of confused. Like, how do you know about this?
I've been reading Janora's books.
Which makes perfect sense because that's where the Daily were based out of before. Which you know, of course, they take Janora there, and then we get to see. I guess we've seen subsets of bendings from all the different arts, but this is the first time we're seeing a subset of airbending, which is apparently astral projection
and spiritual. And this is when we come to find out
she's done this before.
Yes, but they were surprised to find out that she could still do it, even though it wasn't during harmonic convergence. And as she, you know, says, like, no, I can still do it. It's not as easy, but I can. So, like you said, they take her to Lake Laogai, and she basically projects herself. And again, I love the reminiscence of this episode, but it's so creepy because those were the creepiest episodes when they were brainwashing people.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And we see how empty and deserted it is, basically, and she's
everything's
swimming.
underwater.
Yeah.
But then she's able to use her spiritual connection with Kai.
I love Tenzin. What do you mean? What connection? What are you talking about?
You don't have a connection.
Because, you know, as Korra asked her, she said, well, how did you find me during harmonic convergence? And she says, well, I just kind of felt you out. I felt out your energy. And she goes, well, can you have this connection with Kai? Can't you feel out his energy?
What connection?
Yeah.
Just Tenzin's face in the background.
Yes.
Just Tenzin being a dad.
Yeah,
Right?
well, you gotta remember he's
what?
a dad. So, you know, sure enough, she does try to focus on that. And who should, you know, and this is at this point, going back to when they were training, Kai has basically been trying to be nice and be light on the other airbenders, and this one Dai Li guy is just...
Well, the training they set up is they have them in two lines across from each other, and they're basically like, spar, go, airbend at each other.
Right.
Do the best you can to hurt each other, and do the best you can to block
Show
other
no
people's
mercy.
moves.
Yeah.
And Kai
Cobra
gets
Kai.
paired up with this kind of weak, sickly-looking little kid who straight up says, go easy on me, I'm not good at this. And so
who
Kai
immediately
does.
thought Jon Snow and Samwell Tarly. That's what I was thinking the entire time, and that the training sequences were...
You know, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that, but I can see it now.
Yeah. I see it. Yeah. I like it.
So Kai's going easy on him, and the Dai Li's yelling at him.
But that was the first exercise, too.
And we have another exercise where they're literally throwing rocks at them. They are earth-bending the earth discs that you see in pro bending at them, and you have to try and block them. And
But we kind of need to move on. We gotta need to move a little bit past here to the eventual rescue.
He gets locked into this other place.
He tries to defend the other kid, and they lock him up.
Yes, and then so that's when Janora finds him, and she says, "Don't worry, we're gonna, you know, where are you?" He goes, "I don't know, we're somewhere down." And then thank goodness that she can actually travel up. It's not just being in the scene where they are, and she sees, it's the Queen's new temple.
Because of course she's building her new army underneath a shrine to herself.
Of course. And like you mentioned in the first episode 3 that I didn't actually notice, but you did right away, is why is there Dai Li in this area under this weird construction thing? Like, why would they be there? And it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Going further into the episode, they start to try to do the planning of how to save this. And before then, we do find out Toph's daughter, Lynn, comes in, and she wants to originally take Korra away because they found out about this escape back up in the Northern Temple. And we find out why she was locked away since she was 3. And she finds out for the first time because for some reason, they don't know why, but this troop of evil guys want the Avatar. So Lynn's first priority is we need to take you back to Republic City where I can protect you. And she's like, well, no, I'm doing the airbender thing. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I'm the freaking Avatar. Like, let me help you.
And I love that they explain that because that's one of the things in the first season that was just irksome. It's like, okay, why is she locked up? Why is she a sheltered kid? What's going on? 2 seasons later,
finally.
But notice, like, the 4 people that were involved in that. There was Tonrock, Chief Sokka, Tenzin, and Zuko. What out of those guys is no longer alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this could be the first hint as to why Sokka is no longer in the series. They've said that, oh yeah, Sokka died before the beginning of the show. Was this how he went out?
Yeah. Or
You know, I honestly think he was the one that designed the prisons.
yeah.
That would make sense.
I wouldn't be surprised if he survived that encounter and then designed all those prisons, because they're really clever.
Yeah. But going on to the move, so they all plan, and I love the little bit with the brother of Tenzin.
Boomy.
Oh, Boomy.
Boomy's like,
Boomy is a glorious
we need this,
human being.
we need this. And they're like, no, let's just take this from the get-go. So then we flash forward, and we have basically everybody helping out. Jinora distracting the guards, and then we have the team of Korra and Tenzin rescuing the rest of the airbenders, where because Jinora knows where Kai's at, she runs off with Mako and Bolin. And they're all getting saved. And, you know, I find it so funny, too, that the bigger group of people escaping managed to kind of get out to at least the exit scot-free. But, of course, it's Kai and the just the three people there that get caught.
Well, it was kind of interesting, like when the bigger group escapes and they fight off the Dai Li, and the Earth Queen is right there, basically handing down the threat of, if you leave with my soldiers, I will consider this an act of war.
Because as Boomy did mention earlier, he said she actually does, as screwed up as it is, she does have the right to do this.
Right.
Because they're her subjects.
Yes, which is really messed up when you think about it.
Extremely.
It's like a more extreme version of some sort of like forced draft. But
They have both Asami's airship and Lin's airship, and they're all trying to leave. But you notice that they all take off, and Bolin, Mako, Jinora, and Kai are like nowhere to be seen. They're already like up and away.
And they're basically asking, is that everybody? Okay, cool, go. We need help. Yeah, and then it was very interesting too, and then that's where we come into, again, when we're talking about how they're forcing the airbenders. They don't care so much about perfecting it as much as the force of air, because they use that force to fight off rocks and flying heavy objects and artillery out their way.
And what's fun is they've been training these airbenders to fight off rocks, and now that they're trying to earthbend at them to keep them from leaving, the airbenders have the training to bring them down.
Right.
And
Good job, everybody.
And then I also love that little moment again. We're building on the relationships between Kai and Jinora, where Jinora gets caught by the one Dai Li dude who basically was the one who's giving Kai so much trouble. And Kai gets to say that last word, and again, where he basically knocks him off his butt. Jinora does that last little wave attack because she's the freaking master airbender here. And he just says, oh, I guess I was as good as I thought I was.
Oh, but even leading up before that, Jinora rescues him as soon as you open up. She just goes in and gives him a kiss on the cheek, and Bolin does his...
And then Tenzin's not going to like that.
And I love that Mako's like,
tell him.
don't tell him. And he's like, but I have to.
It's so juicy.
And Bolin is like looking right down at Kai. It's like, oh, we totally forgive you, little brother. And Mako's like, no, I don't.
No, we don't. He's like, no. He's like, it was like, how can we stay mad at you? We couldn't stay mad at you. And then Mako's like, yes, we can.
I have a lot of money in that wallet.
And this is why the large group of airbenders got out scot-free, and this group got caught in the hull
It's all the
because they
chit-chattering
stood there talking.
But anyways,
Talking is not a free action.
But now we end out the episode with Tenzin looking at the new airbenders, the ones they just freed, and basically giving them a
after
choice.
they pick him up on the awesome air bison, and they all run away, and now they're basically outlaws from Ba Sing Se.
So we can either relocate you, find you completely new homes, or you can come and learn to be an air nomad. And they're all like, sign me up. I'm
Air nomad, and just the look on Tenzin's face, just realizing that yes,
It's possible. It's happening.
Yeah.
All we had to do was save them from a life of enforced servitude. Good to know.
Yeah. Because, I mean, when you think about it, this is the one option where it could have actually happened, though. Because even if they do have lives that they want to continue leading,
They can't go back.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I mean, so it really, I think, if it wasn't for this one scene, I think it would have been more interesting to see how they would actually recruit airbenders, because they don't have the choice. So they have their large group right here and now.
Yeah.
And then that's when Tenzin and Korra, we have to split ways for at least a little bit, because Korra, Asami, I'm sorry. Asami, Mako, and Bolin basically go off on their own with Lin, I believe. And then Tenzin and Jinora and Kai and all the other airbenders go up to the, was it the
Back to
northern?
Airbender Island.
Yeah.
Is it the northern?
Going to the northern air temple.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's when we, I think, leave off with the show into next week's episode.
Which great stuff. And speaking of great stuff, Ms.
What?
Cullen.
We have a goodie bag for you.
What?
Yeah.
So our wonderful host, Megan Salinas, you may have seen her. Interrupted by applause. Thank you, booth guy.
Okay, so Megan gets applause and none of us do. Megan's not even here. I mean, come on.
They're applauding us in their hearts. Oh, well, fine. Nobody gets swag. I'll just keep it. Jeez. So our wonderful host, Megan Salinas, went to San Diego Comic-Con and was able to pick up a swag bag from Nickelodeon. The kind people at Nickelodeon provided all these wonderful goodies for us. So we have a tumbler.
You guys should probably watch the YouTube channel when this comes out.
Yes,
If you want to, like, physically
so see all the
this
shiny
stuff.
We have a tumbler. We have a Nickelodeon-shaped USB drive.
What?
That one's pretty sweet.
We have a lovely Legend of Korra shirt.
Size
Also
large.
sweet.
Size large. And we have the official Comic-Con Nickelodeon staff shirt.
Quadruple sweet.
That
So
all
it's
comes-
got the Comic-Con logo on the sleeve and staff on the back.
What size is that?
I don't know, but it's lovely.
But
Medium.
it all comes in
Size
this lovely Crunchyroll tote bag.
medium. Completely unrelated to anything else. Yes. Thank you for announcing that.
Yes. And
So,
how can the
here's-
lovely people grab this bag?
here's how you win the swag. You follow all 4 of us on Twitter. You rate us on iTunes. 5 stars, please, because we love you.
You could comment on iTunes,
Commenting on iTunes would be great, too.
You have to comment because we can't tell if you've rated unless you comment.
There you go.
That's true. So
Thank
rate
you,
and
Stephen
comment on
Lemieux.
iTunes. And comment on the YouTube video telling us why you like our AfterBuzz show. Why do you like us recapping Legend of Korra? And we'll pick a winner.
Yay!
Yeah.
To be announced next week.
There you go.
So thank you all for joining us. And so that you can win these prizes, you can find me at Twitter at @NowQuick.
My name's Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I'm also on the Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, and Ruby panels.
And my name's Liz Rishmawy. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Mawy. That's LIZZYMAWY. You can also catch me on the Sword Art Online panel, and later on tonight, the BBC The Musketeers panel, and on Thursday nights with Tauri here on Dominion.
Oh, yeah. I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can catch me on Twitter at Tauri J. That's TAURIJAY. I'm on the Thursday Dominion panel, Sword Art Online panel, and the Extant panel.
And thank you guys. We'll see you all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.